God come back as the flesh, but
You
when he
need to-
dies, he's going back to the
You
Father.
need to debate those Christians here who says the Son is God. You need to go and have a debate with them.
No, I agree with that, but you're God.
So no, in that belief system where there's a father and son.
Yeah.
Okay.
One's got the authority, and one is just
Who is self-sufficient?
coming into the image of a man to teach us a lesson, and he's gone.
No.
You ain't trying to stay. You don't want you to pray to him. Just trying to see it's a message.
Who is self-sufficient among these 2 or 3 persons?
It's obviously the Father. It's the same. It's Allah. It's the same one you believe in. That's the God.
Then the other ones are not God. Why do you even call them God?
The personality that came back as a man was just someone who came back was like, oh, I'm gonna come back as God's gonna come back as a man to show you all how to live. Say, follow me. Do unto others as I'll do unto you. Turn the cheek.
What came down?
Follow the golden rule.
What came to this earth?
He got born into the.
Did the Father come down?
Father came down, born into the man as we know called Jesus. And that man was destroyed onto the cross because he didn't want us to worship the man. He's like, look, I'm gonna come back as the thing. I'm gonna destroy it to show you don't worship idols, don't worship the golden calf.
Which Christian denomination believes the Father came down as a man?
I don't know actually. That's a good question. Which Christian denomination believe that Father came down as? There's so many. Honestly, I don't know which one.
I don't think there's anything that really believe the Father came down. If it was those kind of the heretical belief in which it's like a belief of modalism, because the Father is the only one, he just changes his actions and role. Sometimes he behaves like a father, sometimes he behaves like a son. In that kind of belief, that's what it is. Church rejects that belief system to be heretical. So the belief system that you're saying, in which there is a Son and the Father, 2 persons, not one. In that case, the Son can never be God in any shape or form. Why? Because God is self-sufficient and the Son is not. The Son is dependent.
Yeah. But the Son is the Word, though, isn't it? In the beginning was the Word.
If the Son is dependent, the Son cannot be God. Anything, any being.
It's the action of God.
Any person, being, existence, entity, whatever you want to call it. If they are dependent on some higher beings, then they themselves are not God. The higher being can be then examined, is the higher being God or not?
That's what I'm saying.
So Christianity, in the concept like Christ, Jesus, or Krishna, whoever, they can never be God. We can simply say they're not God. They are lesser forms, right? We say Jesus Christ was a messenger, a prophet of God, and we don't elevate him into a deity.
So you don't believe in the miracles that he performed? That's all the cool stuff he did, to be fair.
Just because someone performs a miracle, it doesn't elevate them to become a deity.
So you believe, so you use the analogy, I know you like movies, you're saying you believe in Superman, but he can't fly, he's not from Krypton, and he's not from Kansas.
No.
But he's still Superman.
No, I don't.
He ain't got a red cape.
I don't believe
in
this.
a full Superman. He can fly, he's got all the attributes of it. Like they say in the Bible, I believe he did do those miracles. He did have a
if God gave you the authority to do all these miracles that Christ did, if God gave you all the authority, would that make you God?
No.
You said no.
But there's loads of other people that had those. Moses, he's not God.
Then
Moses
why do you
but
then?
Jesus was God, came back as a human.
Now you're saying he's God. You have to make up your mind. Once you're saying he's not God, he's the Son of God only.
Have you seen the Matrix?
Look, this is real. Let's deal with reality.
No, let's imagine that.
No. Let's deal with reality. So you have now one point. You're saying Jesus is not God. He's a Son of God.
He's the Son of God.
And now you're saying he is God.
Yes, as in VR. God put on the head console, came into, got born as a human.
God will never become non-God.
Why? Why do you believe that?
Because that's his nature. Can God become non-God?
If he wanted to, he could do all things, but he would also coexist in the ethereal world.
So I think the problem is this.
He can put his mind there and also do.
I think we've got this. I think what we need to discuss is this about God doing everything, right? This is what you think. Oh,
omnipresent. He's everywhere.
Can God become the devil?
He created the devil.
That's not my question.
That's the answer to the question.
Can he become the devil and that's it? He remains the devil.
Why would somebody want to do that?
If he wanted to.
That's insane, though.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
If
he wanted to.
He can.
So basically,
he can do anything. So does he?
No. So you're saying anything. God can become the devil.
Anything.
And he can make the Bible actually false.
Everything.
And he can be less than or loving.
Anything.
Then you don't understand the concept of God in the first place.
But he's not limited to the powers like a genie. You're trying to say a genie can't come out the lamp.
Wait.
And he can't wish for more wishes because he's a genie.
This is what we need to understand.
He's not a wish master.
Can the necessary being be unnecessary?
No. But it's paradoxical.
No. Now you're saying no. You just said, just a few seconds ago, he can do everything.
Yes.
So can he become, as I said...
It's not on or off. He can be...
No. Can the necessary being become unnecessary? It's so simple. The necessary being by definition is necessary, can never be unnecessary. If you can understand that point, then you realize there are certain things, by its affirmation of its nature, you have to reject the opposite. If you affirm God is everlasting, you have to reject God can be ceasing to exist and not everlasting. If you say God is all loving, you have to reject the opposite, that God can be less than all loving. If God is infinite in his perfection, you have to reject the opposite, that God can be imperfect. You have to reject the opposite, because this is what affirmation of a nature of God restricts you from accepting anything else. So once, for example, I know that you are a human being, I have to reject the opposite, that you are a tripod, because you are a human being, a sort of affirmation. So when the Christian belief system, I know you're not a Christian as you said, but you're representing them, but think about it. This belief system of Christianity, one examined critically, we're thinking about critical thinking, then you realize this belief system of multiple persons within this God, firstly, it's not textual. Text doesn't support their belief. The Bible doesn't support it, because the Bible says in 1 John, anyone remember? Come on.
Tell us.
Does anyone not remember?
1 John.
Where does Jesus says, this is eternal life, that they should know you, the Father, referring to the Father,
yes,
the only true God, and Jesus Christ you have sent. John 17:3. So this is a verse where the Christian Unitarians use against the Trinitarians, and the Trinitarians have no response which makes any sense. Why? Because you have here the actual person who is debated, Christ himself is saying, the only true God is not him and the Father and the Holy Spirit. He says, no, only you, the Father. So according to Christ himself, the only true God is one person, not three persons in Christianity.
But according to Christ himself, he did perform all those miracles, which you denied.
Miracles,
so why
like
would he be
when
true
you,
about that?
hang on,
John 1,
miracles, as you stated, if you did all those miracles Christ did and even more, it will not make you God. So miracles doesn't make you God. Miracles are done with the permission of God, so that people can believe that you are an agent of God.
Yes.
So people believe that Christ was a messenger of God because you did miracles.
Well, my last question for you then. This is a good one then. So Christ died on the cross. Let's say he did. Let's say he didn't. Let's say a historical figure did. All of those 12 disciples who saw what happened to a man who claimed to be the Messiah all suffered the most horrific deaths you've ever seen. Why would a sensible, sound person want to burn to death or dipped in oil, turned upside down for something that they thought was just a belief? Or did they know, I saw that guy, he resurrected, he came back, that was God, and I'm willing to die for it because I know what's going to happen? Why would 12 people go through that?
Okay, interesting question.
And
here,
as a sound mind,
here's the answer. Here's the answer. Firstly, believing and dying for your faith is not unique to Christianity. We have greater examples in other belief systems, especially Islam, where people will die to defend their faith, and throughout human history. So dying for personal faith of an individual or a community is not unique to Christianity. So don't make it such a unique thing, right?
No, but that's a good question. No, but 12, I know a lot of people died in...
It's not a unique thing.
There's a lot of saints and martyrs.
I'm not finished, by the way. I'm not finished, okay? I'm explaining.
You have to answer that.
So I am saying it's a unique thing. Secondly, these disciples, according to the text that we have in the New Testament of the Christians, it doesn't state anywhere they witnessed the crucifixion, okay? So it was a rumor to them. The people who wrote to them, they were not eyewitnesses likewise. So they're reporting a rumor. So people are writing rumor from other people who they have not even seen the events. So according to us Muslims, crucifixion was a historical rumor of Christ, was a historical rumor that some people did. Take the example of the resurrection of more than one individual. In Matthew's Gospel, you have Matthew narrating before around this event, the graves of the saints were opening up, and the dead bodies came up from those grounds, and they started going towards the city, and there were multiple of them going there, and they saw these multiple people. Which is more amazing? one man supposedly resurrecting, or actually in front of them, dead people from the graves. Maybe skeletons like zombies. You talk about Matrix, zombies coming up and then appearing to many. You expect these kind of things, events narrated, to be, if it's historical, to be narrated by various people. The people who are Christians themselves, people who are Jews, Romans, the pagans, the Jewish chroniclers, the pagan chroniclers. We expect them to narrate them because they would have gone to those people. Imagine now they came here, those zombie-like people. You, if it was you only, my friend, narrating this event, everyone else didn't talk about it, then people around the world will say something fishy going around. Are you a really good reporter? Are you narrating the event which is really true? Because you expect an event of this magnitude to be narrated by multiple other peoples, other cameras, in their Snapchat, in their social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you name it, TikTok. You'll be there. You'll be going home and you'll be talking to your families, your children. You'll be phoning your friends. You'll be calling BBC, whatever, ITN, whatever news channels Al Jazeera, you name it. You'll be calling them. Why? Look, dead people are now walking. Guess what? Such an event, Matthew narrates, no one else mentions it, which you expect it to be mentioned. This one example, I can give you others, but sufficient to demonstrate to you, these authors who are narrating these so-called historical events are to be taken with a pinch, a whole bunch of salt. Why? Because they don't represent that this is the reality. You expect the reality to be narrated elsewhere. So when you have people who are disciples of Jesus Christ, ordinary peasants and fishermen, and you have the Gospels, writers, authors, writing eloquent Greek, doesn't make sense. It was them writing it. So all of these reports and events, they're not really eye testimony accounts. So the events, even for the crucifixion, you'd be surprised to know that even the early church fathers were writing against heresies by Irenaeus, saying, we really believe Christ died by physical crucifixion. Why is he writing that? Because there were people around his time, not one person. If he was one person, he doesn't need to tell all the people Christ didn't die, because who's going to care about this one person? But if there are many people believing that Christ didn't die by crucifixion, then it's important for him to warn his community, believers, that don't fall into this trap, because we really believe he died by crucifixion. So that demonstrates very early on there were groups of people who believed he didn't die by crucifixion. And when we discover writings within the first 300-400 years of Christianity, in which Jesus is sitting on the tree, this writing says, and says, look, they are crucifying the wrong man. He's laughing and smiling. Look, they're crucifying Simon the Cyrene. They got the wrong man. So you have historical precedents in some of the writings of the people that they believe someone else was being crucified. He was the one carrying the cross and he got crucified. Why would Judas need it with some bribery money to tell the Romans, tell us who's Christ, if it was such a well-known figure and so on? Everyone would have known. Think about it. Why does...
No, that's not a good argument.
No. Think about it. No, think about it.
No,
if Jesus,
that's the way it was.
No. If Jesus, such well-known figure, people should have known that's him. Oh, look, he's the one. But why you had someone else to say, show me which one? It makes no sense.
Because the Romans didn't know who he was.
Oh, Romans didn't know.
They didn't care about, they were like, this is some Judah. This is some
now
Judah.
you're now saying it was just.
They're like,
now you're saying God came on earth.
Yeah.
Only a few handful of people believed in it, and no one else never knew about it. Think about it. God, out of all his time in history, come on, he comes down on earth to tell people that I'm God, and you should worship me. And guess what?
You didn't say that.
So God comes down for what reason?
He said, I'm coming down to show you that all religion, I come to the temple, they're praying, they're all hypocrites. Everyone's a hypocrite. Forget all this stuff, forget all this church, forget all this rubbish. I'm freeing you. You're saved, you're all saved. It's the death of religion. I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to show you all that I'm God. I'm going to show you all the magic tricks. I'm going to show you all that stuff.
I'm going to show that God, right?
I'm going to show you all the miracles. And then do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to destroy the flipping temple, but it don't mean nothing.
So he comes down.
That's a hell of a story.
No.
That's probably one of the best stories I've heard of all time.
This is a story. It's such an unbelievable story. I'll tell you why.
What is better than that?
I'm going to tell you, with all due respect.
The Matrix, it inspires.
All due respect.
It inspires Neo, it inspires Superman,
such a belief,
all these stories that we love.
Such a story is such an unbelievable story. I'll tell you why.
Better than that?
God comes down, he expects people to know he's God, and no one apart from few individual thinks he might be God. That is such a failure in God, in this story that you're giving me, to tell people that he's God.
Some people knew. Remember the three wise men?
Did his mom know?
They knew.
Did the mom of Christ? Did the mother of Christ know that he was God?
Yes. No, she knew. Angel came to her and said, "You're going to be bear a child, which is going to be the Lamb of God."
I'm not talking about lambs, and I'm not talking about sheep and lambs and bananas.
He's the sacrificial son of
God. Yeah. Did the mother of Christ, peace be upon them both, did she know that she's given birth to God, and God is now on this earth?
As God spoke to her and said, I'm going to give, you know what I mean? So God came as the messenger.
You haven't read the Bible, have you? The Bible does nowhere state the mother of Christ knew that Christ was God.
Can I argue that? Because I actually read a couple of bits and I will find the text. But
go on.
Let's find it. Someone find it. Find it in the Christians.
Go and find it.
Let me see what I'm saying. Not only did Mary know, but Joseph knew. Because I always wondered why.
Okay.
No, hold on.
Mary.
No.
So I will wait.
No, hold on.
I will wait until you substantiate.
Was Joseph cool with the fact that his wife was pregnant with another man's baby?
Go ahead.
Why didn't he run away? Because the angel came to him and explained to him. So
ask your Christian friends. Does anyone know?
That never happened. I read a text.
No, what I'm saying,
you just said,
you will not find anywhere Christ, the Mother of God, ever mentioned, stated, prophesied, believed that she has given birth to God, and she believed it was God on earth now. It doesn't exist.
No, I don't think it would exist either. They didn't say that though.
Do you see my point? Did she believe he was God? The answer is no. There is no such evidence.
Yeah.
So the closest, look, who knows you better than your mother? And the mother doesn't know that he was God. The one who's changing, we don't want to go there because some people might.
She's a virgin. There's just like a
wait. So now we find that story doesn't add up, because you now have a belief system in which you expect, if such a thing really happened, people should have known. Instead, let me give you the opposite evidence. Instead, the Bible writers, they say, people went towards Jesus, and why did they go? Did they believe he was God? No. Did they believe he was someone else? Yes. What did they believe? They believed a miracle worker has come, a man of God, a prophet. So they took their blind, their lepers, the people who are in needing of help, physical, spiritual, and so on. They took it to him for healing. And when their daughters, children, sons were healed, what did they say? Thank God. They didn't thank him, they thanked God for sending someone to do this kind of healing. So they praised God for doing that through this man, which they said a prophet. So they believed him as a prophet. So are you saying God deceived the earlier community in thinking that he was a prophet of God? That's what this story is saying. They believed he is a prophet of God. And this is actually in line with what we believe. He indeed was a prophet of God. He was a messenger of God. He came to tell people not to worship him, but to worship the one true God. That was his mission. The same message Moses, the prophet, peace be upon him, before brought, to worship God and not to worship anyone else. The same message Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought after Christ, that you should worship none but God and God alone, not to worship any prophets, any messengers, any angels, anything of the creation. This is Islam, pure and simple. This is what the whole religion is all about. Religion is not about, as you say, forget all this religion and so on. Religion is about this connection with God. How do you commit yourself to worship God as you should worship him in his right? Don't worship a monkey thinking that's God. Don't worship a tripod and thinking that's God, because you're actually violating his rights. You should give that gratitude, that utmost reverence to God who deserves it, not to a man or a woman.
So where you pointed to, the sun? Are you a sun worshipper?
No, not the sun.
You point to the sun.
I am saying God is not in this creation.
Exactly.
He is outside the creation.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. Anyone who worships the sun and the moon, they are creation worshippers, and if they died on that state...
Isn't the symbol of Islam a moon, though, isn't it? Hold on, isn't the symbol of...
The symbol of what?
Are they moon worshippers? I didn't even mention
hang on.
I saw a symbol of...
Very interesting. So when you have Muslims writing, putting moon in there.
Yeah.
Does any Muslim?
Are they sun and moon worshippers?
I'm going to ask you this and by a confirmation.
Yes or no?
Of course not. You will not find a single Muslim in the entire history of Islam across the globe that ever says the sun or the moon are deities worthy of worship. Instead, they will tell you these are creation of God. Worship the one who created them. Sun, moon, they have no power of their own. They are God's creation. So
and that's
what happened
about Jesus? Worship the Son because he's a creation of God. And then
worship who?
Worship the Son of God.
Why should you worship the Son?
Because he's a creation of God, and he came back as a
human.
You
should not worship the creation.
And he was basically didn't do it. He basically had no sin. He was the nicest guy. He healed people. He was one person on the planet that didn't deserve to die. I deserve to die. Everyone deserves to die. He probably was the one person on the planet who was completely innocent, and he got sacrificed.
So an
that's
innocent
the whole point. You just basically, I think you are a Christian.
So an innocent person.
You just summed it up.
Let me tell you, your rhetoric.
I don't think you are allowed to get it.
If you allow me to express myself, your rhetoric has no meaning, and I'll tell you why. You've committed here several injustices. Okay, let me start with number one. You are asking people to believe in the murder of an innocent man for the crimes of other people. Such an unjust system. Why would anyone believe that the innocent should die for the guilty? Are you an American?
What does that got to do with it?
Because that's what they had. Maybe they've corrected themselves.
What do you mean? I don't understand the connection. The American
yes,
innocent.
They made sure people were guilty until they were proven innocent. That's the paradigm they operated. Do you remember what happened?
Not innocent to prove guilty. No. Sorry,
they considered Muslims guilty until they're proven innocent. If that has, where were you? Where were you all these years?
I'll go back to the 7 points. I don't know about American politics. Sorry, you lost me there.
Forget America. Forget America. It needs to waken up. Maybe they have changed. If they've changed for good, good to America.
Don't get me cancelled off like this.
Good to America. But this is what happened. This is what happened. This is their foreign policies. Like Muslims, that was by default. This is their modus operandi. Now, an innocent person to die for the guilty is an unjust thing to do. The guilty should die for their crime, should be punished for their crime. When Adam and Eve committed a sin, which is a crime against God, are you guilty of their crime?
Not until Jesus came and
are you guilty of that
the
crime?
original sin.
Are you guilty?
Not anymore.
Hang on.
Because of Jesus Christ.
Before Christ came, when Adam and Eve sinned, are you guilty?
If I was alive, then I would have been,
Okay, that shows really here justice. That really shows justice is misunderstood.
It shouldn't be paid.
Hang on. That shows justice is misunderstood in the religion that you're trying to say, like, makes sense. Let me tell you what. If I am committing a crime, I am the one committing the crime with my own volition, my own will. My children, my grandchildren, who are not born yet, should not be responsible for my actions, my crimes. Why?
So you definitely then hear this out. Good point. You definitely then don't support slave owners and reparations. You're anti-reparations then. Because we
are anti-injustice.
Are you anti-reparations?
I don't know what that means, but
you just said it. No, basically, you're saying
I'm anti-injustice. We are Muslims.
It's such a good point.
Actually,
he just said the crimes of the forefathers shouldn't be suffered by the sons. There's people right now, black people in this country, people who are the descendants of slavery, who are channeling the UK government to say, look, your institutions got funded on our ancestors' misery. Can you give us back a little bit of cash? Are you anti that? I'm going to explain what my belief is. I just squashed your point just then.
You're not squashing my point. You're not, first of all, with due respect, you're not even sure what you're talking about. Let me explain.
Go back to
we are saying, we'll come back. We are anti-injustice. So wherever injustice happens, we are against it. So when a criminal, imagine I was the criminal. Okay, I'm not going to put the example on you. Say, imagine I committed a crime. No, I said if I committed a crime and my grandchildren are not there, they have nothing on that crime. They were not there. They didn't will it. They didn't do it. To say they are blameworthy, responsible, and guilty for this crime is unjust.
What kind of crime, though?
Any crime.
I don't think all crimes have different levels.
Listen.
I think rape is different.
Understand first of all.
Different to a petty theft.
Hang on.
Sorry, I feel like I found the problem with you.
Can I finish my point though?
You can, but I really worked out though.
No, you keep on saying this, but you don't even know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about.
But I've realized
on planet Earth, so I'm not going to go to only England, on planet Earth, can any legal system punish your grandchildren for the crimes that you commit? Anywhere on planet Earth? Nowhere. You will not find anywhere. Maybe in the belief that you are propagating, Christianity. That is an unjust belief system as we are demonstrating. Why? Because if I commit a crime, like murder, theft, whatever, I am the one responsible because I did it. I willed it, I've done it. Yeah. My grandchildren have nothing to do with it. To blame them, to make them accountable and guilty and punish them, if you have any iota of justice in your heart...
And you're pro-Prince Harry then?
Wait.
Then you're pro-William.
I'm Muslim. Now you're realizing this is Islam. Not pro-this, anti-repartionist, whatever you call it. You are now agreeing the values of Islam. The values of Islam which says about justice. So it will be unjust to punish my 10th generation for the crimes I have done. Right? So if you have a belief system in which the future generations are punished for their ancestors, what they have done, that belief systems need to be really looked with a critical mind and say, is it really believable?
No, if they eat the fruits of that injustice and they inherit that injustice, living in the palace of the crimes, they got the skins. I think we're on the, you know that to be true. Do you think that's right?
Your rhetoric doesn't work with me. You've probably realized so far.
Let
me tell you. The police comes along in this park, and they arrest you.
I get, I'd leave.
No. Let me finish. The police comes along.
It's actually really good. You're more altruistic. You're saying if you commit a sin, your children are not responsible for it. That's nice. Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
It's not about nice. Is it just?
Yeah, no, it is more just. I'm saying you're more altruistic. It's more just.
Just. That's what we're dealing with. So when you have.
I'll be according to him.
Justice.
It could be wrong to someone else.
Yeah.
Like who?
You know what I'm saying? For example, I can give you Israel and Palestine. These people are coming to you and saying to you, we're punishing you for the people of yesterday for taking our land. So people do apply that rule.
You didn't understand my example. Let me give an example. A Palestinian.
No, I heard you. I heard what you're saying.
I'm giving an example. Perhaps you can listen to it.
This example, though.
Imagine now a Palestinian commits a murder. Right? Should the grandchildren of that Palestinian be punished and blameworthy and guilty for that murder?
Are you asking it according to me?
According to justice?
No. You see, we don't have the same consensus of justice. Do you understand that?
Who are you? That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm talking about the whole world.
No, the whole world disagrees with you.
No, but okay. Your sense of justice is different to mine.
Ask anyone. Raise your hands if you agree as a gentleman. Raise your hands.
It's evident. You don't even need to agree with me. It's evident.
You said the whole world. The whole world here. Raise your hands if you agree with him.
Brother, does the same laws apply?
No one agrees with you.
No, okay, they don't agree.
Okay, let me continue with you.
What's this?
No one agrees with you. The whole world, Speaker Scholar disagrees with you. So now coming back to this point.
Yours is not the whole world.
The immediate vicinity of the people.
They said that. They said that.
So they said what?
No one said nothing. Everyone's quiet. What about?
Who considers his belief is unjust? Raise your hands. Unjust.
There's no hands.
Unjust.
Can I explain?
Look at that.
Oh no.
3, 4, 5.
His belief is unjust.
Can I explain?
Killing the innocent. Is it unjust?
I want to see some.
That's what I said.
I want to see some real racism.
Right. So now let's come back to this point.
This is interesting. We could go
now,
forever.
I believe let's say that.
What's the final closure? Because I feel like I don't want to be rhetoric.
Okay. So what I'm saying is,
I'm never going to convince you. I know that.
No. Your rhetoric doesn't work. I will tell you why. Because when it comes to truth and justice, we know where the truth lies and justice lies.
That's your belief.
Unfortunately for you, it seems to be with Islam. Islam tells you, be just, establish justice. Do not punish the innocent. Believe in one true God. Don't believe in and worship a creation. Don't worship the creation. Worship the Creator. What you're coming to tell us, the people of sound mind, worship the creation. Worship the tripod. Worship a banana. Worship cabbage. All of these things, as you know, is laughable. Yeah, truly.
Banana and tripod. I never even had that in my vocabulary. So this is your thing.
So at least now you'd know how ridiculous it is to worship a banana, and how ridiculous it is to worship a human being.
I do like it. You're a very good speaker.
Ridiculous it is to worship a human being. Why? Because God should be worshipped and none else.
Thank you.
Okay, you
Let's
take
leave
care.
it on that note.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Take care.
Thank you so much.